What's going on, guys? It's your boy William A. Thomas here to make a quick video. All of this ended up spiraling out of some conversation that's been going on. So I'm gonna give it a couple of seconds, let a couple of people be able to get on. But we're going to be talking about a little bit of economics, basic economics. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video, especially if you're watching on YouTube. The algorithm has been giving me a hard time. So, of course, I'm always fighting against the YouTube algorithm. Be sure to share this video to be able to help educate someone else. And also be sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss out on any of my videos. If you're watching from Facebook, you can go to my YouTube. It's William A. Thomas, just like my name, and you'll be able to find me there. If you don't see my picture, it's not me. And if it is someone else, there's a problem. But we're going to actually just get right into it. And anyone who missed it can watch on the playback or can go onto the YouTube channel. So we're talking about money right now. Yesterday, President Joe Biden had signed a $1.2 trillion, I guess it's for the spending bill, infrastructure bill. That's what it was for, $1.2 trillion. And the question ends up coming up is, where does the money end up coming from? See, whenever I was a kid, I just more so thought that, hey, when I get a quarter, I can go to the store and buy some Little Debbie's. Another quarter, I can get a Huggy. Or if I have 50 cents, I can get the big hug. Everybody remember the big hugs? I used to love those. But whatever the case, I didn't understand or think that in the future, looking at now, that same Little Debbie, cake that was 25 cents is now about $1. And there are multiple reasons for that. So we're going to talk a little bit about inflation. Inflation is not necessarily a bad thing, but in fact, it's actually healthy for an economy to actually have inflation. The problem is when it actually moves too fast. So typically with inflation, it's pretty much how many goods are your dollars going and getting? So the more inflation, is going on, that means that your dollar is able to get less products than it would normally be able to get. That's just a simple cursory, understanding as far as inflation. I'm no economist, and I'm not going to give you the economist definition because it'll probably just confuse a lot of people. But one of the things that was misunderstood in regards to it, yes, right now there is a supply chain issue going on to where people aren't able to get their hands on the goods that they want. Some of them are sitting overseas. There's also an issue in regards to what we're getting from places like China. There's issues in regards to jobs that aren't being filled, whether in boats, whether in trains, whether in planes, and all things of the sort. So along the way, there is a high demand for a lot of things, but the supply is either being cut off or in some situations it's low. For example, the lumber. Lumber is in short supply. And a lot of this actually ended up happening from the COVID pandemic, and it created a perfect storm. We had, issues of, supply shortages. We have people that are not working jobs. We have people that are out of a job. We have people that are losing their jobs. So all of those things are, happening right now and are affecting the economy in different ways. Now, if we look in addition to that, okay, in addition to, the job shortages right now, the federal government over the course of the last year at different times has said, okay, we're going to help people. We're going to stimulate the economy by putting money into the system. And The deeper explanation, I'll take the mid-level explanation. The mid-level explanation, and then I'll give you the simplified one. I'm not going to go into the super deep one. I'll either get an economist to do that, or have someone to come on and actually explain that. But the mid-level I'm understanding is that there are two entities that pretty much affect the money flow. We have the U.S. Treasury Department and we have the Federal Reserve Bank. Okay. The Federal Reserve is not actually a federal institution at all. It's actually a private entity that is owned by, I'm afraid to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway, some of the richest families and banking institutions in the world. As far as the Treasury, we know that that's run by the U.S. government. So what ends up happening, remember, this is a mid-level explanation, right? The Fed, the Federal Reserve, will set a rate for everything, and they will give banks credit, and in return for the credit, the banks give the Federal Reserve securities, usually, in the forms of, like bonds. Okay. And then it ends up, doing this cycle to where, Fed down to the bank, securities up to the Fed, over and over again. And in a normal situation, oh yeah, and don't forget, the bank gets these bonds from the Treasury. So it ends up making this cycle, right? To where if it's not, managed, we could end up having, a bubble bust. But the normal expectation is this, okay? If you put more money out there, into the system, into the bank's hands, what will happen is it'll make it available for people and dollars in circulation. And usually what would happen is the supply would go up and the demand would go up. And then there would be like a downward curve kind of, the inflation is not supposed to just go like this. It's supposed to go, pretty much like this. Now, it's not happening right now because we have a situation where there is money being pushed into the system, but the supply is not, the supply is not being available and the demand is high. So the cost of things are going up. So I'm going to actually move into the simplified example, and we're going to just talk about a game that everyone is familiar with. Anyone ever play Monopoly? All right, great. When you play Monopoly, there is a certain amount of money that is given. The person who is in charge of the money is the banker. As you're going through every time you go around, you pass go, you get $200. You're able to buy properties and things like that. Everyone's happy. You're getting the properties, you're charging rent, you're buying houses, you're buying hotels, and so on. Everyone's played Monopoly. But imagine this. Let's say that the total money in the bank is, we'll just say $10,000, right? But those cards on there say that, one property is $150, one property is, $250. And then at some point, if you're playing the way that I play, you can end up negotiating and, selling for whatever the price you actually want. So Park Place, I may know someone who has Boardwalk, and instead of me selling it for $500, I may sell it for, $1,000 under normal circumstances if someone wants it bad enough. But let's take this scenario to the next level. Okay. Instead of there just being that $10,000 in total, let's say that my brother comes over and he says, you know what? I have Monopoly too. And my sister says, me too. How about instead of just playing the game normally, let's take the money from all of our Monopoly games and we'll put it all into POW. So instead of there being $10,000 worth of money, now there is $30,000 worth of money. But the properties are the same, okay? Whenever we go and start playing the game, and in addition to that, okay, in addition to that, everybody gets an increase. Instead of $200 when you pass go, you get $600. Sounds good, right? So you end up tripling your income. We have more money available in the bank, and so on. But the properties are the same. Sounds great, right? Great. No, because in that situation, what's going to happen is when we get to the negotiating phase where we are trying to buy and sell properties, what's going to end up happening is the properties are going to end up having not the same value because so and so, just passed go and had $600. And of course, they could spend it easily. That $600 could probably buy about a fourth of the board, whereas before it would have been able to buy maybe 3 properties, right? So what ends up happening is, as a property owner in Monopoly, what I would do is I would adjust the price a little bit higher to compensate based on all of that money that is out there, because that money is not, I think the highest bill in Monopoly is a $500 bill. Someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I don't really remember, but let's say, the highest is a $500 bill. Well, that $500 no longer has the same purchasing power as it did whenever we just had the regular $10,000 bank. It is worth less because there is more money available in the supply. And that's pretty much what's going on right now. Every time the Fed ends up printing more money coming through the Treasury printing machine, then our dollars that are being spent end up becoming worth less. So if I want to go and buy some chicken, let's say I had a restaurant, I sold, a bomb chicken wing, one of the best chicken wings that you'll ever find. And maybe I was selling the chicken wings for $1. And all of a sudden there's an influx of money because people are either getting paid more or because, for whatever reason, but there's more money out there. In that situation, I'm going to end up having a lot more people, as long as my product is good, a lot more people are going to be coming to buy my chicken wings. And I'm going to probably be selling out. In the process of me selling out, I am going to be going back to the supplier, the farmer or whatever, to go get more. But if I'm coming and I'm getting it too fast, what that farmer is going to do is they are going to end up raising the price of the chicken wings on me. Now, I know that I'm simplifying this a lot. I know that there's a lot of middle stuff that goes on, but just go with me here on this. That farmer is going to raise the price on the chickens, and until I am going to have to raise the price on the customers because there is more money out there. There are very rare situations where whether the labor cost is going to increase, where the the cost of paying employees is going to increase, or if there is more money out there available that increased and everything else remaining the same. That's just not how economics works. So, I'm going to leave it at that. For anyone that has more questions, be sure to leave your questions in the comments and I can go into more detail there. But that's just some food for thought, and I'll let you do the dishes. Peace.